Welcome to Kenya. Situated in the east of Africa, just south of Ethiopia, this is a huge and proud African nation with a population of 49 million and the capital city of Nairobi. This is a country that has got a proud and rich history, but things were about to change. Now, the country was ruled by President Francis Atudo. Now, Mr. Atudo was a good president, but he hadn't been elected president. He was a dictator, but he loved Kenya and he loved his people. Now, he could run the country better, finances could be pooled and sent to the right places, poverty could have been ended, but when you have great power and great responsibility, sometimes corruption and greed isn't far behind. Now, to make sure he hung on to power, he placed his brother John Atudo in charge of the army. General Atudo was very different than his brother. He was mean, he was stern, he believed this country should be ruled by its military, ruled with an iron fist. But his brother was the man in charge, and for now, he was going to do what his brother told him to do. But after years and years of living in his brother's shadow, John had got sick and tired of his brother Francis. He knew he had the power, he had the military on his side. He decided brotherly love wasn't enough to stop him rising to the top. He was going to take over Kenya and he was going to become the new president. Nothing, not even love, was going to stop him. So he marshalled his forces and attacked the palace. The president had soldiers on his side, but they were outnumbered 10-1 by the general's army. The civil war lasted several weeks, but it didn't take long before General Atudo had overthrown his brother, placed him in prison, and had become the new president of Kenya. Less than a week later, John Atudo, the former president, was found hanging in his cell. Some people say he committed suicide. Most people believed his brother murdered him. So with the president dead and General Atudo in charge of Kenya, the ex-president's family had to run. They left for neighbouring Ethiopia, where the young son of the president was taken care of by the government. They couldn't trust staying in Kenya anymore. He knew his uncle would kill him, his mother, and all his siblings. Back in Kenya, the new president, General Atudo, did what he said he always would do. He ruled the country with an iron fist, and he spent the money on the military. 80% of the income of Kenya went to new tanks and planes and the armed forces. People were starving on the streets. Refugee camps formed on the borders where people would no longer support themselves. They were either trying to survive, feed the families, or leave Kenya altogether. While people were starving on the streets, the general was spending the money on lavish palaces, golden cars, golden guns, and women. Now, it wasn't long before revolution talk started. People knew things had to change. The general had to be removed from power. Even in his own army, people were annoyed because their families were starving at home while they watched the president sitting on golden thrones, eating lavish meals, throwing lavish parties, and not giving a second thought to the people of Kenya. Over in Ethiopia, a young Sebastian Atudo was marshalling his allies. The son of the former president knew he had enough clout and enough in his own name to be able to maybe overthrow his uncle. Now, he didn't have an army, but he knew if he could get back to Kenya and start speaking to some of the generals that had decided to break away from the new president, he might be able to form his own forces and regain control of Kenya. And that's exactly what he did. Within a month, he was back in Kenya. He had his own army and he marched on the palace with one mission in mind: to remove his uncle. After several days of heavy fighting, young Sebastian Atudo won the war. His uncle had been removed from power and beheaded in the streets of Nairobi. Young Mr. Atudo was now sworn in as the new president of Kenya. But unlike his uncle and even his father, he had a different vision for this great African nation. He wasn't going to be a dictator president. He was going to be in office for 4 years. And after those 4 years, he was going to hold open and free elections for every Kenyan. But he had a lot of work to do. He wanted to rebuild the image of Kenya. He wanted to make it the greatest nation in the world. So he decided to switch all the funding for the military and give it back to the people. He pumped it into schools, into the roads, into the facilities of the nation. He wanted this to be the greatest nation in all of Africa. But he also had one love, a love for football. And he knew that if he could make this country great at football, it was a sport that would bring everyone together. So he decided to put large resources into the Kenyan national team and football league system. Every team would be given hundreds of millions every season to improve the club, improve facilities, and try and put Kenya on the top of world football. Not only did he want to dominate the African Champions Leagues, he wanted to hopefully dominate the African nations and go on and become the first team to ever win a World Cup. But could he do it? Could this young man who had freed Kenya, who had a great vision for Kenya, turn this country into a footballing powerhouse? Would football bring the nation together finally? Was all the fighting finally behind him? Well, we were going to find out, because this is the story of the Lion King. Hello, I'm Bood. Welcome to the channel. If you're brand new, thanks for checking out one of my videos. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. You'll smash the like button and go and watch some more of my stuff. If you're already one of my subscribers, as always, thanks for joining me. Hope you smash the like button too. And this is the Lion King, set in Kenya in a mythical story. We're just going to basically give Kenya some resources and see what we can do with it. Now, I've tried this before with other countries. I've done it with smaller nations. We do it with things like Gibraltar, but no one really highlights Africa too much. So I wanted to do that. Plus, I've added a story to it, which is just a story. Don't take it serious, or don't think it's real. I'm just playing around with pictures, having a bit of fun, adding a bit of depth, hopefully, to it. But like I said, we're going to find out the new ruler of Kenya and see how he does it. Can he turn his country, make him proud by using football, and make him a dominant force in not only Africa but the world? Now, the reason I chose Kenya, because basically I googled African national football teams and I saw that they were called the Lion. Oh, brilliant, we'll use Kenya. Found a database on Steam already made up. I'm a bit lazy. I'm going to use that. I've edited it obviously for the basis of the story, and we'll see what's going on. I had a lot of fun with this. I'll put a save file out there as well. If you want to play in Kenya, knock yourself out, let me know down below how you get on. But let's get started. Now, here we are on the Kenyan national teams page, and first thing I'll say, look, you see the nickname. They're not called the Lions, but it is a national symbol, according to Wikipedia. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But yeah, they are ranked 111th in the world. Now, obviously, they've got some good players. Victor Wanyama, we all know who he is. But what I want to do is invest that money into the country and let's see what they can do. So, you know, they're going to have good TV money, all that good stuff. And we'll watch and see if the league can grow. Can it attract good players? Can they dominate Africa? Can the national team improve? Because all the clubs are going to have better facilities. Are they going to create good players? Now, this works quite a lot of the time when you do stuff like this, but it's not always guaranteed to work. So it'll be interesting to see if we can do it. Now, this is the KPL Premier League. It's Kenya's top division. We've got both leagues. They've got the second league as well. Obviously, I've upped their reputation. So both them two leagues are the best leagues by rep in Africa, because all of a sudden, everyone knows there's money being invested. This is where you want to go to get paid. This is where the best players are eventually going to come to. So its reps increase because of that. Now, it might take a dip, but I assume it'll dip and then come back up once all the quality starts to come out. Also, once all the regions start to come out. Now, I'm really excited about that, because Kenya's a good team. But when you think of African teams, they're not the team you always consider are going to be amazing, are they? You know, you got the South Africas, Egypt, you know, Ivory Coast. They're the team that always have the stars. Even Cameroon, Nigeria, teams like that. You never really see Kenya do really well. So that's why I really wanted to use them. This is the second division, but it's not a standard second division. It's like groups, which is interesting. And like I said, if you decide to play it, let me know, because you could jump in at this stage, and you know there's going to be new finances in the leagues, new reputations. So to take a team out of one of these and climb out, that'd be great. But I like this system. Now, these are the rules for the second division. When it comes to getting promotion, the top team wins promotion to the Premier League. What, from each group? That's interesting. Is that it? No playoffs or anything? Prize money ain't great, but there's other money in this nation. You're going to get your money other ways. But yeah, I want to know how that works. Right, so if we go up to the Premier League's rules, you'll see bottom 4 teams get relegated So is it that simple? Bottom 4 teams go down, and 1 team from each group goes up. Simple enough. Now, in the divisions below, you only allow 4 players on match day. When you get to the Premier League, you allow 5 foreign players, on match day. So, you know, you're going to have to build a team of Kenyans. So you need good Kenyans coming through the system. Let's have a quick look at what the best players are like now, and then we can, when we go into the future, and hopefully we have loads of superstars, we can compare. And of course, their best player is Mr. Victor Wanyama from Tottenham Hotspur, 26.5 million. He's a good player. I'm hoping for better. We want some really good regens. We've got this geezer, JOURNEYMAN, who plays for... I can't say that. But apart from Wanyama, I think this is the trouble, isn't it? I mean, they've got decent values, but they haven't even got... My face pack is massive. So they haven't even got faces. Yeah, there's not much depth there yet. Well, let's get into the good stuff. And I've saved it at 10 years and we've saved it at 20 years. So this is the halfway point. I'm going to jump in here because this is when all the good stuff starts to happen. When changes have happened. 10 years in Kenya. And things have definitely changed. As you can see straight away, they're now the 16th best team in the world. And when you look at the top players, no longer do they just have Victor Wanyama. Most of that, some of their players play for Paris Saint-Germain and Liverpool. So, yeah, I think quality's definitely got better. You can tell it got better because not the last one, Ivory Coast won that, but the one before that, Kenya, won the African Cup of Nations, and Kenya haven't won that ever. Let's have a look at their squad and look at the values. So brilliant, it's definitely worked. I mean, great facilities and all that. I'm assuming good players are coming through, and it's not only good for the country, but what's great is a lot of them are still playing in Kenya, which shows that the Kenyan league's obviously good enough for him to stay, which I like a lot. Well, let's have a quick look at some of them. The top guy here, obviously the one from Paris Saint-Germain. He's alright, isn't he? He says right back, wing back, can play in the centre. The next guy who plays for Zoo FC. Pretty good, pretty quick. I like him a lot. We've got this geezer, striker, who's alright. His finish is not great, but definitely better than what they had before. We've got the guy from Liverpool who's under bid. Who's a transfer bid for me? Opera FC, 104 million. Anyway, David Harron, who is an absolute beast at 23. So he's at Liverpool and he's got a bid in from Opera FC. They finished 4th in the very last Premier League table. So they're a force, which is cool. But that's great, isn't it? That they've got 104 million to bring a player from Liverpool back home of that quality. I like it. So over the last 10 years, these are the teams that have won the league. Now the history's only started from this day, and I don't know why. It is what it is. I'm not sure. But what I love about it is how many teams have won the league. We haven't got one team that's just sticking their head out and saying it's me. I think we've got a team that's won it twice, and they've won it 3 times. Shemilel Sugar, brilliant name. What's the sugar for? Why have they all got sugar on the name? There's 3 sugars there. Why? If you can tell me, let me know. But I think that's amazing. What a competitive league. And again, if you're playing this, how much fun would that be? Let me know. Now, we don't just have the league. We've got the League Cup. And it's called the Kenya League Cup. Very imaginative. And again, it's been won by different teams, which I think is absolutely brilliant. The current #1 team in Kenya is South Nyanza Sugar. Yeah. They play in a 90,000 capacity stadium. Wowzers. Great worldwide reputation. They're rich, of course, because all these teams have got great commercial incomes. That's where the money comes in, not through the league itself or through a TV deal, but they've all got set up with a great commercial income, like Manchester City. So every year they'll have a couple of $100 million pumped in, so they'll be able to compete with anyone. Let's have a look at a couple of their players, and the value of them makes them look like a Premier League team. I love it. This is the top guy, Mr. John Akumu, who is Kenyan, 22, attacking central midfielder. I like him a lot. Next guy, Jonathan Sabiter, he's French, 23, world-class goalkeeper in Kenya. So much fun. Got an Italian, 21-year-old, an elite striker in Kenya. I mean, I love it. I love it when you do this. I know it's, you probably say, oh, it'll happen anyway, but it's just a lot of fun to give resources to a country and watch it grow and see how it grows. Over to the Champions League, the African Champions League, and I'm in Africa on my Journeyman series, and I'm trying to win the Champions League in Africa. And it was mainly dominated by South Africans, Egyptians, a few other teams. Never really seen any Kenyan teams. Whenever you come across a Kenyan team or a Liberian team or whatever, you dominate them. So to see that, I like it a lot. So they've, the last couple of years, they've started to dominate. Sugar, they've won it a few times. We've got another Sugar, have won it a couple of times as well, which is brilliant. What makes it really good is that they've finally won the World Club Championships. Now that I know it's not really the most serious competition, but to see a team from Kenya go there against the likes of Tottenham and so on, the big clubs always usually win it. So to see that, I am so happy with it. Because last year, Shemelele, Sugar, got beat up Paris Saint-Germain. But this year, no offence to Spurs, but you get your ass kicked by So Nice Sugars. Now stadium-wise, wow. Jesus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams share one stadium. How is that logistically possible? How would you work that out? And with all the money they've got, why are they not building their own? You've got 3 share this one. That's bad enough, but that is just an absolute mistake. Another good thing is the Ballon d'Or. The current holder of the Ballon d'Or is John Akumu, I think we looked at earlier. Is it Sonai? That's what I want to call them, Sonai Sugar, which is brilliant. But a few years earlier, Andrea Bellotti, who is a real player, of course, he won the Ballon d'Or while playing in Kenya. He's not. Look at his attributes. He's decent. That baffles me, but fair play, mate. Kylian Mbappe at Man City. That's fun. He's a beast. Even at 33 on this game, 34, he's still just as good. So with Kenya having an African Cup of Nations in the trophy cabinet and going from 111th to 16th, over the next 10 years, can they keep progressing? Can they get higher? Can they break the top 10? Can they do something in a World Cup? That'd be great. Domestically, the teams are starting to rise to the top, winning World Cup Championships, winning Ballon d'Ors and so on with their players, attracting the best players as well. Can that get stronger? I think we should find out. Welcome to 2034. We've not gone a full 10 years for a few reasons, and you'll find out why pretty soon. But straight away, you can see they have definitely improved. And what I love as well is that the top players are all now based in Kenya. They're not going up to Paris Saint-Germain or Liverpool. They're at home, which is freaking brilliant. The major clubs have all changed around as well, which shows again that I reckon that league is proper competitive and things can change. But it's that world ranking. They're now third, the third best team in the world. There's only Italy and Spain above them. They're better than Brazil. Where's my England? Where's England? 10th. Wow. Let's have a look at some of their top players. And of course, we've got David Haron, who we looked at earlier. He's probably a lot older now, 29 years old. Absolute beast of a player. John Akumu again. He won the Ballon d'Or, remember? Beast. It'd be interesting to see if he won it any more times. Got Michael Otieno. I'm going for. Pretty decent midfielder. Francis Mwangi. Great name. Defender centre. Really good physicals. Peter Ouma. I'm rubbish with names. He's a striker. And then we've got Michael Jumu, who looks awesome. Wow. Do you know what? It's what happens usually when you've got awesome players and you're the third best team in the world. You win bloody World Cups. They just won the World Cup. That's why we jumped back now. I thought it can't get any better than that. Don't need to go any further. World Cup winners just beat Mexico 3-2 in the final. How good's that? And this is their World Cup. They won every game, didn't draw any. They had Wales, Saudi Arabia and Chile in the group stage. But, you know, you can imagine them now dominating that, and they did. Then they beat Italy in extra time. David Haron. Then they played Holland, beating them 3-1. Then they come up against Brazil, winning again in extra time. Wow. Wow. And then the final again was won in extra time. So it's been tense, but well done to Kenya. And when it comes to Ballon d'Ors, Mr. Mbappe's got another 3. It'd be interesting to see if this is how it works out in the future with him, because he's a good player. And only one player again has managed to get it, Mr. Ken Otieno, who again plays for Is it Sonai? I still want to call him Sonai Sugar. I mean, he's a good player. Great player. World Cup winner. League-wise, when it comes to reputation, I gave him a good one, but it wasn't as good as the Premier League or so on at the beginning, but they are now. It shows you that money You give clubs money and they get better facilities. They're going to get better, I know. It's going to happen, but it's just cool to watch a team like a country like this grow. And also, like I said, if I put a few save files out there for you, it might be fun for you to jump into and just do something different. This is that time of year where Football Manager can get boring, but if you love the game like I love it, you're looking for a different challenge, and you might never even think about going to Kenya. Normal Kenya might be a bit boring for you. This is something different. Just might excite you. Now, when we looked in the past, it was a very, very competitive league, but it looks like that team who became Club World Champions have just gone on and, you know, the sugar daddies are definitely doing well. Finally, these geezers have toppled them, but these two look like probably the two best teams. They were winning Champions Leagues and so on, weren't they? And when they won the World Club final, they were the runner-up. So, yeah, it definitely is kind of plateaued out now, and maybe some of the cream's risen to the top. When it comes to the League Cup, it's still a bit more competitive. Now, there isn't any other cup. So, you know, the League Cup is the only domestic cup. But, you know, is what it is. And it's good. I mean, when you get to the final, it's pretty random now. I wonder what determines the stadium you play in. Do you play in your own stadium? I don't know. Let's have a look at the current champions team. And again, values like a Premier League team. Probably even better. Now, we all know about this geezer here. Let's have a look at Santiago Diaz. Paraguayan. We've got Rodrigo Pereira, who's Portuguese. And you've got to remember, they can only have 5 foreigners. And that's 3 foreigners on the bounce. 4. 5. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you can have more, but you can only have 5 in the matchday squad. But yeah, they've got some quality. Over to the Champions League, and yeah, they've obviously won it, and then they've never not won it. Wow, that is domination. But when it comes to the World Club Cup, they won that one we looked at before, and they've been to many finals since, but they've never been able to repeat. When it comes to the African Cup of Nations, they've won another one, but you know, they're competing with like Ghana. Ghana are a good African country, so is Ivory Coast. So, you know, they're up there, but at the end of the day, they've won a freaking World Cup. First African team to win a World Cup. I like that a lot. But I think if you look at this shows you the difference now, that the fact that they're going to have good young players coming through them, good facilities, great regions coming through that. Obviously more money, better coaches, better players when they do get there, so they'll learn off them. All that good stuff, tutoring and so on. And if you look at the Under-20 African Cup of Nations, it's just been dominated for the last few years by Kenya. So there we go, that's the end of the Lion King. Hopefully you enjoyed that video enough to smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Now, it wasn't necessarily an experiment. We all kind of know what can happen. It's more of a, I'm going to be putting it out there for you to have a look at yourself, to play. And I'm going to do a bit more of this over the next few weeks. I've got a few databases, and I've done that a couple of years ago where I gave out databases to people just to keep them interested in Football Manager, just keep your imagination going. One of my most famous databases I didn't do. I haven't done so far this year, and it's been very popular over the years. It's called the American Premier League. That's coming back out. Not as a series, as a database, and we'll have a look at that pretty soon. But this is more, I want you to have fun. And if you're bored and you're looking for something different, download the files, have a go with it, have a play around with it, change it up if you want, and let me know how it goes. But I just hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching it. Make sure you go and check out my other videos. If you want to support the channel a little bit more, you can pledge to my Patreon. If you're a patron, by the time FM20 comes out, you will be actually in my very first series on FM20 as a player or a staff member. Totally up to you. But yeah, thank you. Thanks for taking time out your busy day to watch this. Hope you have a great weekend. It's been amazing. I'm Bood. I'll see you next time.